The Toronto Raptors are an absolute mess. Just when you thought things couldn't have gotten any worse, they did. The Raptors blew a 17-point lead to the Utah Jazz on their home floor, got outscored 41-21 in the fourth quarter to lose their third straight game. An embarrassing showcase from a team that has lost 10 of their last 13 games and have had many bad losses in the first 29 games of the season. I called this rock bottom for the Raptors, but then I remembered that they play the Pistons next week, which could very well be the true rock bottom for this franchise. What's going on, everyone? It is Luca here, back with another video. In this one, I'm going to be talking about the Raptors, their problems, and where they should go from here. If y'all can do yourself a favor, please hit a like on the video, and also please subscribe to the channel for more Raptors and NBA content just like this. Nick Nurse was in line when he said, "Good luck with those guys." Those words were a sign of things to come. The Raptors were expected to compete, but instead, they look like a team that is struggling just to get into play-in contention. The Raptors' shooting has been bad, the bench has been bad, their defense, which was supposed to be this team's strength, has fallen off. The roster construction is just flat out bad, and now it looks like this team has reached their breaking point. I know it's easy to blame Dennis Schroeder, who has been bad as of late and plays selfishly when he should be deferring to his best players. I like the move for Schroeder because it was a cheap deal and meant not paying VanVleet the max. But lately, he's looking like his true backup point guard self, and he's trying to be the main character. I know it's easy to blame new head coach Darko Rajakovic, who makes questionable decisions during the game, refuses to bench Schroeder, and make lineup changes saying, "It's not like we have Steph Curry sitting on the bench." Look, I haven't been the biggest fan of Darko. However, I'm going to cut him a bit of slack here because he was given an impossible situation to make right. The biggest issue here is management. They haven't upgraded this roster. They have put together a team that doesn't fit, and they have coasted through this entire thing hoping for the best, and now it's blowing up in their face. The truth is, the Raptors should have chosen their direction to rebuild around Scottie Barnes last season when Toronto was beginning to fall apart. They had VanVleet, who was about to become an unrestricted free agent, and Siakam and Anunoby were highly coveted. But instead, management tried to make a desperate win-now move by trading their 2024 first-round pick for Jakob Poeltl. The Raptors went on to miss the playoffs, lost an all-star in VanVleet for nothing, and now they have Poeltl on a 4-year, $80 million contract who isn't a good fit at all with this team. And the Raptors have two more key players in all-star Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby, who can leave for nothing next summer. The blueprint for the Raptors should now be clear. They need to finally start on this rebuild around Scottie Barnes. Some people don't want to rebuild because that means the product's going to be bad. I mean, guys, this is as bad as it gets. I mean, that's why they brought in Darko anyway. If the Raptors wanted to compete, they should have kept Nick Nurse, not fire him for a guy who's a player development coach. And that player development coach needs to start prioritizing the young talent on this team. Let Scottie Barnes cook and don't hold him back in any way. Free Grady Dick, who is riding the bench, which doesn't make any sense. If the Raptors are going to be bad, let him get his reps in. They are destroying his confidence right now. The Raptors now have the 7th worst record in the NBA. The Grizzlies will be much better now with Ja, so the Raptors should bottom out to keep their 2024 first-round pick, which is top 6 protected. Which means if the pick falls within the top 6, the Raptors keep it. If it's outside of the top 6, the Spurs get it. If the Raptors keep their 2024 first-round pick, then it would convert to a 2025 first-round pick to the Spurs, which is also top 6 protected. And if that doesn't convert, then it goes to a 2026 first-round pick, where it's also top 6 protected. The Raptors also wouldn't be able to trade their 2025, 2026, and 2027 first-round picks. But that's not necessarily a bad thing here because the Raptors should be keeping their firsts if they are headed for a rebuild. Now, people are saying that the Raptors should let the 2024 first-round pick convey since it is a weak draft class, but every draft has busts and players who end up becoming studs. The Raptors are already this bad, plus they shouldn't hold off on a rebuild any longer, especially when they have unrestricted free agents who they could lose for nothing. So if they trade Siakam by the deadline, they'll be even worse. It's a terrible situation to be in, but right now, it's pick your poison for the Raptors at this point. And I mean, if the Raptors are rebuilding, in theory, they'll be bad for the next couple of seasons. Top 6 bad? I don't know about that, but that just goes to show how bad that trade for Jakob Poeltl truly was. Regardless, the first line of attack for the Raptors should be trading Pascal Siakam. Siakam will get a lot of interest closer to the trade deadline, as teams like the Hawks have had interest for him dating back to this past summer, and the Pacers and Kings have also been mentioned as possible suitors. Raptors might lose some leverage since Siakam is on an expiring deal, but that doesn't mean that the team trading for him can't lock him up the following summer, similar to how the Kyrie Irving trade went down with the Mavs last season. In a Siakam trade, the Raptors need to acquire young players with potential and draft pick compensation in the deal. According to Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype, he says the Raptors are more likely to trade Siakam than OG Anunoby, saying, with rival teams expressing trade interest in Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby, the consensus among the vast majority of NBA executives who spoke with Hoops Hype was that Siakam would be the one more likely of the two players to be traded. NBA executives exploring the trade market for wings believe Toronto will do whatever it takes to keep Anunoby in free agency this summer after he formally declines his $19.93 million player option. And honestly, you'd be doing Siakam a favor at this point. He's turning 30, doesn't fit a rebuilding timeline, and the Raptors owe it to him to put him in a situation where he can actually compete for a championship and not endure this sad situation. As I've said in the past, if the Raptors are going to keep one of Siakam or Anunoby, they're better off keeping Anunoby, which makes more sense because he's younger and his skill set is more complementary to Barnes. Also, the Raptors have been very reluctant to trade Anunoby to this point, so that's probably something that's not going to change. The priority for the Raptors right now should be rebuilding around Scottie Barnes and giving him the right supporting cast. It seems pretty straightforward, right? However, I'm worried because I don't know what this front office is thinking at this point. This is a franchise that is dead last in transactions done in the last 3 seasons. And Masai said in the past that the trade deadline isn't a great place to make long-term decisions. Well, Masai's going to have to, because I mean, if management fumbles this upcoming trade deadline and the summer, if they weren't already in hot water, they will be in some serious hot water if they do so. Because that would, in theory, mess up their chances of keeping Scottie Barnes happy and in Toronto long-term. Scottie Barnes has been the only bright spot in this disappointing season for the Raptors. He's the only player who has played with a sense of urgency and actually looks like he wants to win out there. How many times has a Scottie Barnes gem been spoiled this season? He's coming off tying his career high in points with 32, 14 rebounds, and 7 assists in that embarrassing loss against the Jazz. Scottie Barnes over his last 11 games is averaging 23.7 points, 9.5 rebounds, and 6.3 assists per game while shooting it 54.7% from the field, 38.7% from 3, and 78% from the free throw line. The Raptors can't afford to mess up the situation of not building around him properly. Barnes is the Raptors' cornerstone and their next star, so they can't make the same mistake they've made with their previous stars. Raptors management needs to start making the right moves to get this franchise out of the gutter before it's too late. What have your thoughts been on the current state of the Toronto Raptors, guys? Let me know what you're thinking down below. How do you think the Raptors should move forward from here on out? Hit a like and subscribe for more. That is it for me. This is Lucas signing off. As always, thank you so much for watching. I will catch you all again in the next video.